10 years ago, on a cold and dark night, someone was killed beneath the town hall light. There was few at the scene, but they all would agree the slayer who ran looked a lot like me. She walks these hills in a long black veil. She visits my grave when the night winds wail. Nobody knows, nobody sees, nobody knows but me. Hey there friends, how's it going today? David Potts here with Song Notes, and I'm coming at you with a lesson for The Long Black Veil. Absolutely classic country song. This is from Lefty Frizzell, originally recorded in 1959. I first learned of this one through Dave Matthews playing it with Emmylou Harris at a Johnny Cash tribute in 1999. That was actually my first Emmylou Harris song that I ever remember hearing. So that was like an amazing introduction to both those artists for me, and for Johnny Cash as well. In the next few years, I got into him quite a bit. So I'm going to teach you how to play it. I'm going to show you a key of C version. Okay, it's just a 3-chord song. I'll give you tips on playing this in other keys if that's what you're looking for. I'll show you a few different strumming patterns, right? Something a bit more straightforward to get started with, and I'll talk about some alternating bass notes if you want to kind of capture some of that Johnny Cash vibe. I did make as well to accompany this lesson. It's a separate lesson, but an alternating bass note cheat sheet. If you want a sort of guide to show you how to do those alternating bass notes in any of the common cowboy chords in open position, right? Check out this separate lesson I made because it's going to help you out there. But let's get into it. Thanks to all of you who have requested this one over the years. Rick, most recently you've written in asking about the melody. So I'm going to get there. I'm going to talk about, again, all the chords and the strumming stuff in this main lesson. And then in part 2 over on my website, I'm going to talk about some melody options you have if you want to play the melody a bit more simply, right? Or if you want to do something with Travis-style finger picking. Okay, so all that's on my website, but let's start with the basics for now, and then we'll have some fun with the other stuff a little bit later. So let's get into it, and I'll see you on the other side. Let's go. All right, so first let's look at the chords we're going to use to play this song. Now, I'm going to teach this in the key of C, which means we're going to use these 3 chords, right? Our C, our F, and our G. Now, this is a 3-chord song. You might see it taught in other keys, but it's always going to be the 1, the 4, and the 5 chord of whatever key you're in. Now, if that sounds like alien language to you, I recommend getting my major key cheat sheets because you can just see for those most common keys that you're playing in 90% of the time, you can see what the 1, 4, 5 chords are, right? Your C, your F, your G in the key of C. You might also see it in the key of E, right? With your E, your A, and your B7, okay? You also could play this using D, G, and A. Okay, so you have lots of options, but in this lesson, again, I'm going to be doing it key of C. That kind of matches what Johnny Cash is playing, and I just like what it sort of opens up as far as playing the melody and all that stuff, okay? So you want to learn your chords. I have links in the description if you need help with those, right? But let's look at how we're going to use these chords throughout the song. Now, let's look at the 2 parts of the song. It's just a verse and a chorus, okay? And I have it written up in my song sheet, and the way that I've written this up is every time you see a chord above a word, you're going to play 1 measure of that chord. When I say a measure, I mean 4 counts. Okay, this song is in 4/4 time, which means there's 4 beats per measure. Okay, so if we looked at the first line here, right, and we just hit a single strum every time we see a chord written above a word, right, it would be 10 years ago on a cold dark night, someone was killed beneath the town hall lights. Okay, see what I did there? I just did a single strum, a down strum, every time a chord is written above a word, right? I'll get to the strumming patterns later. I want you to understand, though, the order of the chords that we're going to play. So the way the verse works is what I just did. We're going to repeat those same chords. So let's do this lines 3 and 4 here, right? There were few at the scene, but they all would agree that the slayer who ran looked looked a lot like me. Okay? So I know lots of times folks will wonder, hey, how long do I stay on each chord? The way I've written it up here is a clue for you, okay? You see a chord written up on page 1, that means you play that chord for 1 measure. On page 2, I do have a chord progression diagram mapped out where you see the exact counting. But again, I like to keep it as handy as I can on the first page. Let's look at the chorus though really quick. It's the same 3 chords, just in a different order. She walks these hills in a long black veil. She visits my grave when the night winds wail. This is where you stay on C, okay? And get ready for that 3rd line. Here it goes. Nobody knows, nobody sees, nobody knows but me. Okay, so that is it with no strumming pattern. And again, it might seem like that was a lot, right? But again, take a screenshot of what I just put on the screen. Get my song sheet, print it out, right? Keep it forever. And I also have a practice track over on my website, like I mentioned, where you can see the chord changes on screen and you can sort of practice and watch as the sort of the chords change. So you always know what's coming next. It's a really helpful way to practice. I want to recommend that again. Now, that's how you do the verse and the chorus. I'll teach you the strumming patterns. I'll show you some alternating bass note stuff you can do, but you're going to want to get used to going through the song in that manner. I recommend either putting on my practice track or just put on Johnny Cash's version and play along. Do a single strum on those 1 counts. And the idea here is you learn how to get through the chord progression, right? You know what the next chord is at each time there's a transition coming. And then you're gonna get comfortable and confident. You're gonna feel like you understand and have a lay of the land of the verse and the chorus. And then when you get to the strumming pattern and singing and all that stuff, if you want, you're gonna be in good shape there, okay? So let me say one thing really quick about the end of each line here in the chorus. You see I have a note on my song sheet. I say during the chorus, you can stay on the final C of each line a little bit longer if you want to. And this is something that's pretty funny, because if you listen to Lefty Frizzell's original version, you listen to Johnny Cash's recent version from his Unearthed album, or his way back album version from the Orange Blossom special, I believe it is, just those 2 artists. And then if you bring in a bunch of other artists, look at how Dave Matthews does it with Emmylou Harris. Look at how the band does it in their version. Everyone is going to stay on that final chord a little bit longer or shorter based on their version. And it's just a kind of an artistic decision, right? I'm going to play you 2 versions to show you what I mean. The first one is going to be kind of how Lefty Frizzell does it, where he's kind of moving along really briskly and fastly, briskly. Check this out, right? She walks these hills in a long black veil. She visits my grave when the night winds wail. Nobody knows. So I sort of moved along quickly there. I wasn't really hanging out on any chord. Now let me show you how Dave Matthews does it with Emmylou Harris. So check this out. I'm gonna hang out on that final C of each line a little bit longer, right? She walks these hills in a long black veil. She visits my grave when the night winds wail. Nobody. You get the idea there, right? So I played it 2 different ways. I just wanted to bring this up because this is one thing that when I was planning this lesson, writing up my song sheet, I kind of had to make a decision. How do I write it up? You know, do I do one artist's version or another? And I kind of went with what feels right for me, but I just made this note and I included this part in this lesson, okay? Because again, every artist is going to make little decisions a little bit differently. So yeah, I talked about that a little bit longer than I maybe meant to, but it's an important thing for getting the vibe of this song right. Just whatever decision you make, it's fine. You can always change it the next time you play it, right? Try stuff out and just have some confidence about it, right? So it's yours to do as you wish with that. Let me look now at the strumming, because I want to show you a few different options here for strumming this. I already showed you the simplest version, which is just doing a down strum, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, I recommend, again, using something simple like that to get a lay of the land, get comfortable with the chord transitions and all that stuff. But once you're ready for a pattern, let me show you a few options here. Okay, the one that I kind of found the most early footing with when I was learning this song is this one. This is going to be a bass down, up down, a bass down, up down, a bass down, up, down, up, bass, down. I'm gonna slow it down here. Bass, down, up, bass, down, up, bass, down. Okay? When I say bass, I mean that the bass string or the bass note of whatever chord you're playing, play that note. So if it's C, our bass note, it's not the low E string because that note is not in the C major chord as we play it. It's going to be the 5th string, okay, 3rd fret. That's what we mean by the bass note. So we're going to do a bass, down, up, 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 bass, down. Now, here is some of the challenges you might have with this when you're starting to do this, if it's new to you. Number one is you're going to have to target that 5th string, okay? You don't want to play the 4th string, you don't want to play the 6th string, you got to get that 5th string, and that can just be tricky because you're doing all this other stuff with singing, remembering the chords, the transitions, the timing, and you have to get your pick kind of nice and accurate. And I flubbed it in my earlier little playthrough just a minute ago when I was demonstrating the pattern. So here's some general tips for you, right? Number one, on that bass down strum, it's okay if you happen to hit maybe 2 strings, maybe even 3 strings. You just want it to be a lighter strum on the thicker strings. And what that's gonna do, it's going to kind of give the strumming pattern a little bit of, it's kind of quiet and low in the first count, and then it's a bit, you know, on the thinner strings on the rest of the measure, right? As opposed to just... If we did that, it'd be kind of just monotonous and too much. We want to lighten our foot off the gas in certain ways and kind of, you know, lean into other things at the same time, right? So this bass note sort of strum is a nice way to do it. So this is the C. Now for the F, you can either do the 4th string, 3rd fret, or the 5th string, 3rd fret. This is assuming you're using the simplified version of F that I'm using. Or you could just do the 5th and 4th string together. Just keep it light and brushy though, okay? Back to the C, let's just practice the, you know, hang out in these 3 chords for a bit. And to the G, 6th string, 3rd fret. I'm not even fretting the 5th string, I don't need to, I'm not playing it. Okay, so that's the pattern. I recommend practicing it, you know, mute all the strings like this, just cover them up with your hand nice and lightly. And you can sort of practice the motion like that, okay? So that's what we're gonna use for the strumming pattern. Let me play through 1 verse and 1 chorus using that pattern, and then next, I'm gonna show you some alternating bass note stuff you can do, okay? The judge said, son, what is your alibi? If you were somewhere else, then you won't have to die. I spoke not a word, though it meant my life. I'd been in the arms of my best friend's wife. She walks these hills in a long black veil. She visits my grave when the night winds wail. Nobody knows and nobody sees. Nobody knows but me. Okay, so that's how you sound when you put that strum to use at the sort of full tempo that I'm showing you here. Okay, now let me show you another strumming pattern, and this is going to be with alternating bass notes. This brings in a bit of that old school kind of country vibe that just Johnny Cash especially, so many of his songs have. Okay, so this one I'm going to do it without a pick now, just because that's my sort of preference for at the moment. The idea is for each chord, we're going to alternate that bass note. Okay, I'll show you these in a second. See how we're sort of jumping? Okay, it gives it a nice sort of just different vibe. It's tricky in its own way. You kind of have to kind of feel the bounce, right? But here's how to approach this. So if we zoom on in here and look at this. For each chord, okay, the idea is we're gonna do a bass, down, down, up, bass, down, bass, down, up, bass, down. You can use a pick. Don't feel like a pick is not going to work with this, right? Let's do this one chord at a time. Let's look at the C major chord first. So the idea here is you play that same bass note on the 1 count like we did before. Then we do a full strum on the 2 count, right? And you kind of want to get your pick back in motion to come up to get down for that 3 count, because we're going to play the 3rd fret of the low E string on the 3 count. And then we want to come down again. And I'm doing a bass, down, up, bass, down, up, bass, down, bass, down, up. Now that up strum, if this is at all tricky for you, ignore the up strum. Just do bass, down, 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 bass, down. Okay? For the bass notes on the C, I'm using my ring finger on the 5th string, 3rd fret, and then I'm going to the 3rd fret of the 6th string for the other bass note, and I'm just going back and forth, okay? Now, for the F, as Johnny Cash plays it, you actually, if you listen to his version, he's going between 4th string and 5th string, right? So it's, whoop, I messed up there. Right? This is the 4th string, this is the 5th string. So now you could do it in the other order. You could do 5th string, 4th string. Okay? Or like he does it, 4th string, 5th string. Okay? Don't lose sleep over which one you do. Just try them both. Do whichever feels most comfortable at first. You can always change it later. Now, Johnny Cash also, the way he's doing it with the G, this is not typical. He's going from 4th string to 6th string. Usually, 9 times out of 10, folks would do 6th string to 4th string. And the reason why is you typically on the 1 count want to play the root note of whatever chord you're playing. So for a G major chord, the root note is G, and the bass, the thickest string is a G, right? So we play 6th string, 4th string, 6, 4, 6, 4. But again, listen to Johnny Cash's version. You can very clearly hear it. He's going from 4 to 6. Now, why is he doing that? I don't know. Maybe he just felt like it. Maybe there's a bass guitar being played and he felt like he didn't need to play the bass note because the bass guitar, the full band is doing stuff. Maybe it's because when he is switching from his C to his C, he wants that first strum of the G to be a different note. Right? Because what this prevents is him hitting the 6th string twice in a row. So it's getting into the details. I'm not going to understand why he did it. But this is what it would sound like if you play, I'll play the last verse and the last chorus using this pattern, okay? 1, 2, 3, the scaffold is high, and eternity nears. She stood in the crowd and shed not a tear. But sometimes at night, when the cold wind blows in a long black veil, she cries over my bones. I'm gonna bring in the up strums. She walks these hills in a long black veil. She visits my grave when night winds wail. Nobody knows, nobody sees, nobody knows but me. Okay? Again, if this is tricky for you, doing the alternating bass notes, you want to take it slow, work on them on their own. Just practice freely going. Just start with one of these chords. Get comfortable with the C or the G, then bring in the F. Practice freely going between them, and then slowly practice this song on its own without alternating bass notes. And then after you feel comfortable with the song and you feel comfortable with the alternating bass notes on their own, then you can marry them together, right? You want to be careful in anything you're learning. I find this applies outside of guitar too. If you bring in too much new stuff at the same time, it's just incredibly easy to get overwhelmed, right? And all this stuff that we're trying to remember, it's going to go over our head. I took a golf lesson earlier this week. It's my first time ever doing that, at least since golf camp, and I was like 15 or something. And the amount of like bad habits I had with my form were very numerous. And the amount of, we had an hour, so the instructor was like not shy about, I'll go back in future lessons and stuff. But my point in saying all this is like, man, it was overwhelming. And then I played again the next day, just at the range thing, and I was like, let me just focus on two of the things he said. I can get to those other things later. I just want to feel good about my stance and my head position or something, and that really helped for that session. Now I'm sure in future lessons I will continue to get to those other things, and I bring all this up to let you know that learning is part of being human. And don't try to learn too much at once, because it's going to make things just way, way, way more difficult than they need to be. Start simple, bite off a few things, work on those, okay? You can have fun with music by keeping it simple. Put on my practice track, play along with Johnny Cash, just do single strums, get through the song. If you're feeling the song, go after it. You can do a single strum. You can have a good time, okay? So that's how you do that strumming pattern. So that's going to be it for this main lesson here. Now, I have a second lesson on my website where I'm going to show you some melody note stuff, right? Okay, how you can sort of bring in the melody with some simple strums there. It's included in my song sheet. If you do decide to buy my song sheet, what I just played there is tabbed out. And I also have the Travis picking version. Okay, so that's available as a separate video on my website. And I did a Long Black Veil inspired fingerstyle lesson about a year ago, maybe. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. Check that out, because it kind of has a lot of thematic and spiritual overlap with what you hear in this song. So anyway, I love this song. It's been a favorite of mine for a long time now, and I hope you found this helpful, y'all. Check out my website, songnotes.net. That's my site. Songnotes is my site. If you do buy my music sheets, my song sheets here, as of 2023, they are on a different site who does licensing. That's called Music Notes. Music Notes has nothing to do with Song Notes. It's a separate business. The names are similar, but Music Notes is not my site. I want to make sure that's clear. They are like a vendor who I use for licensing and for e-commerce, and tons of other music teachers use them also, right? But Song Notes, 100% my stuff. I want to make sure that's clear for you. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Again, favorite dear song of mine, Long Black Veil is, to say it like Yoda. Check out my website, songnotes.net, for some favorite covers of this song that I will just embed on my page from YouTube, right? If you're curious on some of those. Songnotes.net, that's my website. Check it out, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, my friends, take care, and bye-bye.